This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
Stroz, you remember last season when we had a podcast probably around this time, maybe a few weeks later, where you predicted the Lions to win the division? Because I think you're basically going to do that today. We'll get to that here in just a minute. Also, I'm back from D.C. We're trying to think of a few good stories, and the answer is there are a few good stories. So we're going to hit a couple different aspects of the D.C. trip. I do see here, I told Stroz there were 3 main stories. Well, he's gotten 4 of them in our rundown, so clearly we disagree on the important ones. Or not necessarily disagree, because you have my 3 important ones, but you do have a 4th that I didn't consider important.
They were all great. Everything you were sending me, I thought was fantastic. So I can't wait to discuss it all.
And then Sha'Carri Richardson not going to the Olympics. I think everybody has the take that the Olympics and sports in general shouldn't be testing for weed at this point. I think to have any take to go along with that kind of lacks empathy. We're going to get into that. Stroz and I disagree a little bit there. But yeah, first, Stroz, I don't even believe you. Like, here's the thing. I believe in this moment you believe what you're about to say, but I think it's all emotional. You know, it's early July. Football season, let's be honest, it's closing in on us. You realize that the Hall of Fame game is less than a month away. I know no one cares about the Hall of Fame game, but I do think the Hall of Fame game is exciting in the sense that it means like, whoa, we really are here. No one freaking watches it, but just the fact that it's on is the moment where you go, wow, we are here. And I think, like, you're just ready for it. You know, we've talked more Pistons this summer than we have in a long time. The Tigers are finally honestly, we might need to get to the Tigers more here soon, because I'm starting to buy that the timeline to win next year might be here. But you say this Lions season is going to be fun, and I would love to hear you talk yourself into that.
So I want you to know, I totally forgot that I picked the Lions to win the division last year.
When you said to me that you think the Lions season was going to be fun, it instantly made me think of that, because you picked the Lions to win, and it was very clear to both of us that you didn't believe. Like, in the segment, it was clear that both of us that you didn't believe it, but somehow you were also not lying when you were like, it doesn't make any sense. You got me so
worked up, and I was like, yeah, they're going to win it.
No, that's exactly what happened. What happened is, like, there was something you believed, and I extrapolated it to the point of you saying they were going to win the division, and you're sitting there like, yeah, I believe this. I don't.
It was the best Jedi mind trick on
but, like, I don't.
Ever.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like that's what you're doing here. Like, I don't buy that you think this Lions season is going to be fun, but somehow you've tricked yourself into it. And I want to kind of deconstruct that.
So here's the thing. I feel like you're only giving 50% of what I said with the statement. I said the Lions season is going to be enjoyable like this Tiger season has been. Okay? So there's a couple caveats right there, okay? And I feel like
I still believe that what I said is fair.
So the whole thing is, I think this Tiger season has been a lot of fun thus far. We're about halfway through the season. You see a lot of growth.
Yeah, but that's a recent thing, right? Like the last month or so.
Yeah.
You can extend it a little bit more than that.
They started off like 9-24, but going into the season, nobody had any expectations. You didn't expect anything from this team. So the fact that they're winning now, and they're a scrappy team, and they're able to scrap out a few wins when they fall behind early. And they're able to do some things with this young pitching staff. You're like, okay, cool. This looks like you said yourself, the time to win might be next season. It might be around the corner. What I'm saying is I think this Lions season is going to be very similar to this Tiger season, because I'm going into this season with little to no expectations. You've got a brand new head coach. You've got a quarterback who we both agree is just a placeholder. Guy has a noodle for an arm. You've got horrible wide receivers. You've got a really good offensive line, and you've got running backs. You've got running backs that make you happy, which is saying a ton, because you hate running backs.
Well, I just don't think they matter. I mean, I can think a running back is talented. Like, I just don't think they matter.
Right. And the fact that you get excited about the running backs, I think speaks volumes to where that running back room is at. I think defensively, you've got some pieces, and I think there's a lot more question marks than pieces. But to be able to see what you get out of those question marks is going to be fun this year. And look, what I'm telling you is, let's not act like we're not going to come on here and we're not going to bury this team. Let's not act like we're not going to come on to this podcast and we're going to talk trash when they end up blowing a game, because that's going to happen. It's totally different to view a baseball season compared to viewing a football season. Football, every game means just a little bit more than what you get with a baseball season. Baseball seasons, you got to kind of break it up by weeks. Football seasons, you got to break them up by games, and you really micro focus on everything in those games. But what I'm telling you is, I'm going into this Lions season not expecting a ton from a placeholder quarterback that has 0 wide receivers and a brand new head coach who likes to bite kneecaps and drop elbows from the top rope when he's all greased up with baby oil because he might be a wrestler. We're not 100% sure. I keep waiting for him to show up on Wednesday night's edition of AEW or Monday Night Raw. I'm just waiting for Dan Campbell to do that. On top of that, you've got a defense that is getting reshuffled and is in flux. But what I'm saying is there should be some growth with a lot of these guys, and that's what I'm looking forward to. And that is what I'm going to look. I've already said it. We're going to come on here. We're going to crush this team. And I'm going to be very emotional on certain shows, and I'm going to be very upset on certain shows. But when it's all said and done, I'm going to try to keep in the back of my mind, the season isn't about winning, because they're not going to win a lot of games. It's about watching the growth of these players. And for that reason, I'm going to enjoy this season like I'm enjoying this Tiger season right now. Who is this guy? Right?
No, Stroz, I lost you for like 45 seconds. I was about to text you and ask if you dropped out entirely, and then I just heard you talking, so I missed a lot of what you said.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate, because I was laying down gospel.
Can you give me the TLDR?
Yes. Basically, what I said was I'm going to be pumped up for this Lions season because I'm looking at the growth of this team, not really looking at so much wins and losses.
So I think you used this word to me before we started recording about something else, but I think refreshing is a good word. I think that it's going to be nice to not go in with extreme expectation. Extreme's the wrong word, but we've talked about it before. Since Jim Schwartz, you've gone in and said the goal is to make the playoffs. It's going to be nice to go in without those. Here's where I struggle with fun, and I'm going to struggle with this myself, but I think you may struggle with it even more than I do, and that's, do you want them to win games? Because in baseball, draft picks, like obviously getting the elite draft picks makes a difference, but it also only makes a difference 3, 4, 5 years down the road, right? Like, how long has it been since the Tigers drafted Casey Mize? And we're just starting to get the payoff of that. In football, you get that payoff right away. And even more so, we both want a new quarterback. They're going to have to do that somehow. So, like, I'm not trying to entirely rain on the parade. I do think it will be a refreshing season. And there's potential for enjoyment. You know, if this team comes out, even if you aren't sure of if you want them to win games or not, if they come out and go, like, let's say 8-9, there are going to be some people who say that's the worst case scenario because you didn't make the playoffs, but you didn't get a high pick. I'm going to tell you, if they win 8 or 9, that team's a lot closer than we thought they were.
You should be excited if that's the case.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
And so, but like, are you going to be excited with 5 or 6 instead of 2 or 3? That's where it's going to be tough, because 5 or 6 means you're not getting a top 3 or 4 pick. You're probably still picking top 10. And honestly, like, I probably will at some point tell you should think one way or the other, but I don't know, man. Like, I struggle to say exciting. I think that the cool thing about this season is that it shouldn't hurt you. The only way that this season should hurt you is if they come out the gate super hot and they're like 4-0. I think 4-0 counts, or even 3-0 maybe. And all of a sudden you go, wait a second, is this a playoff team? And then they fall on their face. That's the only scenario I really see where it hurts you.
And you know what? I think that might be a much more concise viewpoint, right? It's one of those things where going into the season, there's nothing there for me, right? It's what it is. It's kind of a blank canvas. And this is the first time I think I can say that about a Detroit Lions season, where I've gone into it, I really don't have any expectations. I don't expect them to even go 8-8 or 8-9 in this case, because we've got a 17 game season. I'm going into this season basically like it's brand new. Like this is like my redo, my Lions redo. I get to go into it with brand new eyes to kind of watch it and see it all, and I'm just kind of taking it all in as a grain of salt. And I think that's kind of how I approached this Detroit Tiger season. I didn't expect anything. Wasn't counting on anything. If we got to see Casey Mize, great. If we didn't, great. That means his arbitration clock doesn't start. It was one of those things where I was interested in what A.J. Hinch would do, and I've been thoroughly impressed with what A.J. Hinch has done.
I do remember before the Tigers season saying that I had some excitement for the season because they had a piece in place in Hinch, and that's been true. That's the other aspect of this that I don't necessarily see the correlation. I'm not saying there's nobody on the Lions, but with the Tigers, you have like Casey Mize and A.J. Hinch. Those are the two that stand out as like clearly core pieces of the future. You might have that with the Lions, but we just don't know it yet. I guess if you want to say the offensive line, maybe.
Mm-hmm. But like, what if this season? Again, what if this season Jeff Okudah has a breakout year, turns it around?
Look at you!
I'm just saying.
Look at you out here about the positive what ifs with Jeff Okudah. Yeah,
look, I hate the pick. What I'm telling you is I need to see something from him.
You don't just hate the pick; you hate the player. Like you know how Lions fans would never give Eric Ebron a chance because they didn't like that he was picked in the first place. I kind of think that's where you are with Jeff Okudah. Like
might be.
you have been to this point so far out on him because you didn't like the pick. For you to come in here and be optimistic about Okudah tells me that you're getting to the point of the offseason where blind optimism pops in.
What I'm telling you is I need to see something out of Jeff Okudah is what I'm telling you. So I'm hopeful, and I'm going into the season with hope that he's going to show me something. Now, that being said, zero expectations that he does show me anything. So,
you're being
great.
You are being. I think this is less emotional than I had thought. However, I do still think that some of it is just you wanting to be excited about the Lions season. I'm not. Look, I feel like I'm giving you some credit here. A lot of times I go in pretty close-minded about your take on an opinion, on a topic, and I'm not here. I do think that, like, I hear what you're saying. I don't know if enjoyable is the right word. All I would say.
Let me ask you this: what are your expectations for next season?
2 or 3 wins.
Okay,
but the problem is, I think the ceiling is probably 5 or 6, and I do think that's going to be a confusing area. Mm-hmm. Like 8 or 9 would be fun. 5 or 6 is like, I don't know what I want.
That's like, no, you're right. You're 100% right. Now, what are you looking for next season? Like, what is the one thing that you're watching going into the season? Is there anything? You could say Dan Campbell not blowing timeouts.
I think those things are overblown. I think that a coach who's bad with clock management is something that can stop you from getting over the edge, but it's not going to hold you back. If you're a good football team and your coach has bad clock management, I think you're still a good football team. It might stop you from taking that next step. But Andy Reid has probably been more criticized for clock management than any head coach in the history of football. He's been to 3 Super Bowls. He's won 1. He's going to win more. He's been to 3 straight conference championships. Like, I'm not saying they're going to be the Patriots, but like clearly Andy Reid's clock management isn't going to hold them back. So honestly, I am going to have a hard time in general, I think, judging the offense this year. What I want to see is, or the coaching this year, I should say. What I want to see is I want to see them play modern football, which is funny because I don't think it's built to do that.
They're not.
But I hope that they're at least heavy motion, heavy play action. If you're on the ball a lot, fine. But those are 2 key things that we know are important. I want to see them. So aside from that, I think the running game should be successful. I've told you that.
Yeah. So it's safe to say that you're looking more for in a philosophy, whether it be on the offensive or defensive side of the ball.
I want to see them play modern football.
Okay.
If you're going to run the football a lot because that's where you're strong, I can understand that to an extent. I don't get to say let Stafford throw because he's the guy. Like, I don't believe that about Jared Goff. So I think you're going to have to kind of help Jared Goff in the running game, but also help him with your play design. And simple stuff, man. There are simple things that we know help an offense. I want to see them. Defensively, I'd like to see them get pressure, be it with the blitz or 4 down linemen. I don't care. I just, it's something we haven't seen in a long time, and I'd like to see that start happening.
So if they're more of a motion heavy modern offense, right? And it's,
I wouldn't call that exciting though. It's just a good sign.
Right. But I think that's something that you can build off of for the next season. I think that allows you as a fan and allows you as a spectator to be a little bit excited.
I think it will be very hard for me to come out of the Lions season super in or super out on this regime. It's not to say impossible, but I think more than likely I will go into year 2, A, wanting a year 2, and B, still open to what they can be. Look, again, I think there will be refreshing aspects to it. And of course, there are going to be fun moments. But as a whole, I just don't know. If I were to list the words I would think of to describe this Lions season, I would think refreshing. I would think curious. I would
enjoyable
think,
is not one.
No, it's just not anywhere on the top of the list for me.
Which makes sense.
We will get into the Sha'Carri Richardson stuff. And should she know better? I think is maybe the question that we're going to get into. We both agree they shouldn't be testing for weed. But, Stroz, you know the topics for the D.C. Review wrap-up of my time. I was there for basically 3 days. So what do you want to get into first?
Pause real quick. Did you consummate at all on your trip? I think that's the question that everybody wants to know.
No, nobody but you is curious, and the answer is no.
I'm so sad right now. I already knew the answer, but I'm still sad. You know what? I do want to hear, because this is a show that is built around pizza. There's a pizza complaint.
Okay.
So I do want to hear the pizza complaint. There's a bunch of stuff that you messaged me that I can't wait for us to delve into, because I think it's so interesting what you had happen.
You don't want to get
the course of a weekend. I think
you don't want to get into the pizza stuff because it's part of the podcast. You want to get into the pizza stuff because you want to get it out of the way. That's what's going on here.
Oh no, I'm curious as to what this pizza complaint is.
I think we may have talked about this before, but I just need to get into it. I am not a picky person when it comes to pizza, but my favorite pizza is cheese, right? And so for that reason, when I'm in groups, I just tell them not to consider me. Like, I'm like, don't get anchovies, don't get olives. I can literally deal with everything else. And if you want to go a step further, don't get mushrooms or maybe banana peppers. But like, again, here's the, like, I don't care, man. Like, the only thing I feel like I can't pick off is anchovies. Everything else, like, I'm going to be able to make a pizza something I enjoy. And the reason I tell people not to worry about me is because no matter what you get, I'm going to enjoy it. But you will not want what I want, right? And this is not, like, very good friends with the people I stayed with. This is not a complaint about them. It is a complaint about the nature of human beings, because this happens all the time. So we're getting pizza, right? We're ordering pizza for the 3 of us. And we're getting 2 medium pizzas and a breadstick. And so they make one pizza the way they want it to be. And so they want to make the other pizza for me, right? And so they go, well, what do you want on it? And rather than to say cheese, because that's the answer. The answer is I want a cheese. But I know better than to think they want this. Like, I've been through this too many times. They don't want that second pizza to be just for me. It's their way of saying, Brendan, how would you like this pizza to fit your taste, but be something that we will still eat? So I was like, tomatoes. It was 3 toppings was the deal. So I said, tomatoes, green peppers, onions. Like, okay, well, we don't like tomatoes. I was like, okay, that's fine. Green peppers and onions. And they go, well, what else do you want on it? And I was like, I don't like nothing. Tomatoes. Like, what else?
Like, you already asked me. Come on.
And they're like, well, how about we put sausage on it? And I said, well, I don't really like sausage because, like, I would put sausage towards the list of the toppings that, like, if I were to rank them top to bottom, it's definitely not my least favorite. But it's in that area, like bottom 5, bottom 6 probably. So I said, yeah, not a huge fan of sausage. And then they go, well, what do you want on it instead? And so finally I said, like, I don't care. Like, put sausage on it. Like, it's just like, and the thing is, they're always trying to be considerate, and I get that. But like, if you're trying to make a pizza for me, Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just frustrating. I will eat any pizza you order me. Like, my dad would regularly be like, oh, let's get 2 different pizzas. We'll start with pepperoni on, like, so that way you can have one you want. We'll start with pepperoni on. I'm like, that's not, then just order the pizzas the way you want.
Right.
And like, I skipped the step of even saying cheese, which would have been my original, right? Like, I already tried to play the let's meet in the middle game, and I don't need to do that. Like, I'm okay with whatever you want to make, especially if, like, again, anchovies are a pretty hard no. They're the only true hard no. I don't like olives, but they're easy to pick off. I don't like mushrooms very much, but they're easy to pick off. And it's just frustrating. Like, I would just like us as a collective group of human beings to, like, decide, do we want to find a pizza that's pro Brendan, or do we just want to make 2 pizzas we like and he'll figure it out? Because I'm okay with the second one.
So what did you guys end up deciding
on? Green peppers, onions, and ham. Which, like here's the thing. Ham is better than sausage, so ultimately by a lot. So we did find our way to, like, a pizza that worked for me. But here's the thing. Like, I don't like going through 10 minutes of discussion to make a pizza that Brendan likes, so we can pick out a C+ pizza for me instead of a C pizza. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
sure.
I have an A+ pizza, and I have, like, a million pizzas that range between a C- and a C+, and it's not worth the 10 minutes to make the difference from a C- to a C+. Because if they got sausage, it would have been a C-. By putting ham on it, it was a C+. And so, like, it's just not worth it. I do appreciate it. Like, they're trying to do, like, the right thing, but the problem is, like, if it happened once, I don't think I'd think anything of it. But this is literally how it always goes. Like, let's try and make a pizza for Brendan, but, like, not actually.
How frustrating is it that this always happens? Like, at a
enough that I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. But, like, at a certain point, I feel like I would just end up losing my mind.
No.
Like, you know what? Screw it.
No, like, the thing is, I don't get mad by it. But what would happen is when they said, how about sausage? And I said, I don't really like sausage. And they said, okay, what else then? That's when I was like, you know what? I should have just not said anything. Just get sausage.
Sausage, right.
Look, ultimately we got to ham, like I said, which was a better selection. It's just, and I'll say this before we move on to the bigger stories. I think on some level it's triggering because I've been to so many, like, I've gotten pizza so many times with my dad where he's literally like, this pizza will be for you, and then he's like, okay, well, what do we put on it? And it's like, then it's not for me. I will eat it, but if we're discussing what's going on it, the only 2 toppings that sometimes I, like, definitely want to add are tomatoes and or pineapple. Like, there are times when I really want tomato on my pizza, and there are times when I really want pineapple on my pizza. Outside of that, it's, you know, I like green peppers on pizza, but I also just like cheese pizza. I like onions on pizza. I also just like cheese pizza. And the problem is the toppings I like most. Pineapple people do. There are definitely people who want a Hawaiian pizza. Tomatoes, I feel like a lot of people don't care for tomatoes on pizza, and I think it's my single favorite pizza topping.
Really? That's interesting.
Yes.
I'm not a huge fan of tomatoes on pizza, but I'll eat them because
I think it is the single, like, I just think it adds so much. And I'll get it with pizza sauce, but I'm also down for, like, just tomatoes instead.
See, I'm wondering if I'm now like your friends. Would you do tomatoes and basil?
Sure.
You look so uninterested right now.
Well, it's just, I mean, that one's pretty nothing. Like, I definitely do that.
I'm not trying to do that to you. I'm just curious if that's a type of pie that you like.
Sure. It's just, yeah, no, I mean, I would absolutely do that. I don't think I've had basil enough to, like, have a strong opinion on it.
I got you.
But the thing is, again, I like all pizza. I really like, I say C+, C-. That just means in the context of pizza. A C- pizza is still an A dinner. So, like, our green onion or our green pepper, onions, and ham, I still loved that pizza, which is why it's not always worth this discussion to me, because I, like, will almost always like the pizza you build. Like, it's incredibly unlikely. You would have to actively try to make a pizza that I would not enjoy.
All right. It's to me, it would be incredibly frustrating that this happens all the damn time. And
well,
it would drive me absolutely.
We don't need to get too deep into it because we definitely have talked about that at some point before. Where do you want to go from there?
I do. So I want to save the baseball situation for the very end because I find that to be super interesting. I do want to go and talk about you putting on your tool belt and becoming a bit of a handyman and maybe earning that man card that we joke about.
No, adult. I'm an adult. It doesn't make you a man. So Monday night, it gets up to 84 in the apartment. The air conditioning's not working. And my dude's a homeowner now. So you don't get to just write a maintenance ticket anymore, right?
Nope.
And
figure it out.
So he decides he will take a look at it. It's by the way, it's like midnight probably. I'm flying out at 11:30 in the morning, so nothing crazy, but like it is the end of the night. And we both do some Googling, and we both come to the same conclusion. The most likely thing is the air filter needs to be changed, and because the air conditioning's running, it's just not efficient. It's not bringing the temperature down. It's not not enough power. And so we're like watching YouTube videos and Googling like where we can find the filter, and it's in none of the areas we can find. However, we take like the casing off the front of it, and that shows where the filter is. We pulled the filter out, wrong size. They had jammed in one that was 4 inches too long, and it's a disaster. It's like soaking wet. It's been like torn to shreds. So we're like, okay, cool. That's a pretty good sign. Take the filter out. Thankfully, they had a new one just sitting there. This is when, by the way, we learned that it was too big. We didn't know the reason it was torn to shreds is because they just jammed it in there. I'll say this. I didn't do a ton of hands-on stuff. I was mostly there for emotional support. And
you held the flashlight?
And the Google machine. And so after doing some Googling, we decide, let's cut this filter to size. Everything we read says it's not ideal, but it would be better to have the filter than to run it without the filter at all. So we cut the filter to size, also a tough task. I'm sitting there holding it, hoping he doesn't cut my hands off. And so we cut through, we jam it in, we close everything up. It's been about 45 minutes, and the air conditioning won't cut on anymore. It would run, but it couldn't bring the temperature down. After we went through all this process, it would no longer run.
So are you freaking out at this point? Because I would be freaking out that we ruined something.
He's freaking out. I'm not freaking out because here's the thing.
Okay, pause for a quick second. Is he the kind of freak out where it's like a bad freak out? No. Like something's getting broken, something's getting thrown.
He's too calm. In fact, we joked. He regularly says he doesn't have emotions. I refuse to believe that there's a human being that doesn't have emotions. His girlfriend vouches though that like he just never seems to have any feelings about anything. And we were joking all trip, like anytime someone gets upset, he just wonders like, have you ever tried just like not? So no, his freaking out was very calm. He was worried. But it was still relatively calm. I, for one, didn't touch anything. So like if anything was fucked up, it was his fault. But also I just didn't think we did. Like the air filter felt like way too small of a thing that we like fucked something up. I felt like whatever it was just because we didn't know what we were doing. And I kept, again, emotional support. I kept saying that like, look, like we didn't mess anything serious up. Like, I'm sure it's something stupid that we just haven't figured out. And he's saying to me, by the way, I told you this. He also thinks of himself as not very handy. He said he doesn't know two people who are less capable of doing this. And I was like, I completely agree. Like, we are a terrible pair to try and fix your air conditioning. We eventually figure out there is a little tab where like on the front casing of the air conditioning where like it has to be held down by I don't even know what to call it, like by the door that we had to take off to see inside. And for whatever reason, it just wasn't sitting up against it properly. Probably not the right way to handle this. He just like starts, pounding it with his fist, and the door eventually holds it closed. Air conditioning pops on, and you can instantly feel the difference. Like it's 84 degrees in the house still, but you can feel the cold air moving. And we're like sitting there like, okay, this is a good sign. Like we're not like totally accepting it yet. Too good to be true scenario.
Yeah.
But after like you could already feel the cold air moving, and then you hear the air conditioning kick it onto another notch, They were like, this is it. And by the morning, it brought it all the way down to 74.
How excited were you, like, to have your first big boy project completed?
Okay, listen here, you little fuck. My first big boy project was when I put up the fucking blinds for my my door wall. That took 90 minutes.
Your second big boy project.
No, I also fixed my own garbage disposal at my first apartment because I didn't want to call maintenance because I was afraid they were going to think I was incompetent because I had just previously called maintenance because the screws on my door were loose and it wouldn't shut. And I didn't have a screwdriver, so I needed them to come screw my door shut. So I fixed my own garbage disposal. I've had big boy projects before, okay? This was just a high risk one because those were both cheaper situations.
Here's the thing. I think this is probably your number one big boy project because
I would agree with that. It's the biggest.
Like messing with an AC unit, that is something that
I told him I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Like that's something like I don't even want to do. And like the girlfriend gives me all the projects.
I will tell you this.
I'm like, maybe not.
We didn't do it because we were confident in our ability. We did it because it was 85 degrees in the house, so we wanted to go to sleep.
For sure.
We did celebrate afterwards, though. Like we did grab some beers before we went to bed.
So was this celebrating when you were with the college kids? Because you boozed with some college kids on your trip too. So like, how does this happen? And did you feel old again?
So I didn't see less so than I do with the interns, but yes.
Okay.
So I didn't actually see how it started. We were on a rooftop on the 4th, like all throughout the day. We had like myself and the friends I was there with had to run back to their apartment or their home just because they wanted to like let the dogs out. They didn't want the dogs to be home all day by themselves. So that the group of college kids, like 5 kids from Indiana, were there when we left, but we had not yet interacted with them at all. And we got back that night for the fireworks, and something I thought really cool had happened because this is just the rooftop of an apartment complex. There are, I don't know, 100 people up there. It's probably 10 to 12 different groups of people there to watch the fireworks. And we had been playing music all day long, but you know, like all the groups had their own like music kind of quieter. I have no idea when or how this happened, but our group became the group controlling the music for the rooftop. Like that's blasting it. Yeah, it was so cool. It wasn't even like, for the record, I didn't like the music. We were like almost exclusively playing country music. I just thought it was cool that like rather than everyone playing their own quiet music, it kind of gave itself more of an event feel to it. You got all of us together on this rooftop. We're playing the music. The college kids loved our music, so they kind of like went back and forth with us a little bit. And the big thing where like we really started to party with them was they kicked us off the rooftop at 10:30. And like all of us are like, we're not ready to be done. And they had a 24-hour entertainment like center on the same floor where there's like no room. So like you can kind of party in the middle of the night. You know, it's designed for that purpose.
Yeah.
And we just hung out. There was a pool table. Some people played pool. Most of us just drank and hung out. There was a fun moment where, so my friend Austin, who I was like there to see, is very good at pool, like actually good at pool. And so he was running the pool table all night. He never lost. And one of the college kids goes, okay, I want to beat you in something. We're going to get solo cups and we're playing beer pong. And they were going to do it on the pool table, but they decided, no, let's move one of these giant decorative tables that would just, it was a perfect for a beer pong. It was like long and skinny.
I'm so happy you guys didn't ruin the pool table.
And we ruined this table so much so that the person who lived at this apartment complex wanted to kick us out. They picked up the table on both sides and the legs all fell off. Oh. Now, I will say this. We didn't actually ruin it. It was clearly not held together well, and we just like fucked it up because of that. And the best thing is, I watched them like all try to screw these things, put the screws back in by hand because the screws fell out. I mean, I had been drinking since noon, and I knew there was no fucking chance. I was like, this is so fucking stupid. There's a 0% chance this is going to work. They put the screws back in. They're all in by hand. They set the table back up. They let go of the table, and the chairs the legs just collapsed again.
Legs just fell down.
So they moved the table back to where it was, just kind of leave it sitting there. And then they grabbed the other decorative table, the exact same one. Thank God this one worked. They played their beer pong. They were fun to hang out with. I would say I didn't feel as young because we were partying with them. Like, I had been drinking. I literally drank from noon till midnight without stopping. Now I didn't go hard at any point. I just maintained a buzz. Like, I probably in that 12-hour span of time probably had like 9 or 10 drinks. So like I never got.
You sound like you went pretty hard.
Yeah, but that's only because of 12 hours. I was at no point super drunk. But because I was drinking all day, you kind of feel like you fit in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was fun. Any questions there before we move on?
Did your friend end up winning at beer pong?
I actually have no idea.
No idea.
I was surprised he played because he is, I realized on this trip, it's funny because he's my closest friend. We disagree on everything. We are so different in so many ways. And me, while I thought that it was silly to try and put the table back together, and don't get me wrong, like I also was kind of cringing at the fact that we broke a table. I was like, look, we didn't actually break the table. Shit happens. Like, it's not going to ruin my night. The moment that happened, he wanted to go home. So I was surprised he still got up and played beer pong. Super important moment from the night, and you're going to be totally shocked by this. We've been drinking all day.
Yes.
No. They were all dudes. I mean, there were girls there, but they were all from our group.
So sad.
What do you want when you've been drinking all day? Food. The college group has a bag of 100 pizza rolls, and they're trying to figure out how many to make.
We like all of them?
So they asked us, would you guys, like, they're going around asking all of us, would you eat pizza rolls? Would you eat pizza rolls? And we're all like, yes. They're like, fuck it. We're just going to make them all. They made 100 pizza rolls. When he brought them over, I told the man that he was better than Jesus. And I really felt that.
And I really felt that. That exact moment, I really felt that.
He turned paper plates into pizza rolls. And that was a pretty cool moment. I already enjoyed partying with him. It was funny. So one of the guys who like lives in DC, like, was exchanging numbers with these college kids to like hang out with them in the future. And one of them asked me if I was on Instagram. And I was like, bro, Twitter, not Instagram. Like, he said, I'm on Twitter, but I don't use it like that. I was like, yep, that's me on Instagram. So yeah, it was fun.
That's funny.
No right. Women were kissed in the making of that story, though.
That makes me sad, but it sounds like you had a great time.
Yes, sir.
All except for possibly this one event. Or I should say maybe this one evening. And this wasn't even you. This was somebody that you associate with.
And here's the thing. Again, I'll tell you, I think I took it in stride a lot better than the friend who I was there to visit.
And he has zero feelings.
Yeah. No, but he has zero feelings, but he also has a very low tolerance for dealing with anything. Yeah. And so one of his good friends, in fact, I'd say his best friend in DC, they went to college together. So like they've known each other for a long time. And the girl he's dating, the two of them, and it's just not a one-sided blame thing. They just fight in front of people all the time. I have no idea what their life looks like at home. I definitely think that they're turned on by it. Like I do think that it is a thing for them.
I'll say, are they like toxic, or is it like we get off on this?
I don't know them well enough to answer that question.
Okay.
I will tell you that I had only ever seen them together once before, the last time I was in DC, and they fought in front of us the whole time. But this was quite the blow up. So we're at the Nationals game.
Hold on one second before you go any further.
No.
Is it like just bickering back and forth, or is it like bitch, shut up, like that type of stuff?
Well, it wasn't that last time. It's not last time it didn't get that aggressive, but it's clearly over like they are actually upset with each other, if that makes sense.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I don't even know where it started. What I will say is the guy is kind of like me in that he likes to entertain and can be a performer in front of people. And like Stroz, you haven't gotten to see it a ton because we haven't spent a lot of time in person, but I can definitely like turn on a different entertainer mode kind of person to me. He loves to be like that. And he's a funny guy. Like he can do it. I think it kind of embarrasses her. So she'll, she'll say stuff that he doesn't like. I really don't remember where this started, but I will tell you, while the game is going on, in a 100% capacity crowd, he called her a bitch. They were both standing up yelling at each other while the game was going on. Other people are sitting down watching the game. While he's standing, he yelled at her to sit down. Also, by the way, they're on opposite ends of, like, there's 5 of us there, and they're on opposite ends of the seats. Like, they're literally yelling across us at each other.
So
He tells her
one's on one side, one's on the other side, and there's like 3 or 4 of you guys in the middle?
the 3 of us in between. He yells at her to sit down as she's sitting down, and then she stands up and says, "No, I won't." And it was just like, that was the start of it. Somehow we recovered all right from it, but then it started raining. And it rained hard, and it rained for like an hour and a half. And we were sitting there trying to figure out whether we wanted to stay or not. And what started to happen is it became clear that the only person who wanted to stay was the woman involved in the fighting. And her boyfriend just wanted to stay with us because, you know, his good friend and the group, and he didn't care what we were doing, but he wanted to stay with us. She wanted to stay at the game. And she wasn't willing to give up the staying at the game. My answer was simple. Like, we'll just split up. We'll go home. You guys stay here. No big deal. But she wasn't having that. And he was not having her having that. And at one point, we made fun of this all trip, and it will forever be an inside thing. At one point, when she said something he didn't like, he goes, "Drunk and bitchy. Check, check."
So, from what I'm gathering here, it sounds like I would be on his side of all of this. Like, cool, you want to stay, but the group doesn't. So, like, put your big girl pants on.
She was wrong. She was wrong in not being able to read the room in that situation.
Yeah.
But he definitely was the one who pushed it over the, like,
he didn't make it any better.
He was an asshole about it.
Mm-hmm.
She just didn't want to leave. And you know what? For the record, I don't necessarily think it's her. Like, they paid for tickets. Like, I mean, maybe I'm just too, like, maybe I'm a pushover. But in that situation, I kind of think if I was him, I would have just said, okay, we will stay and you guys can leave. I have no relationship with this guy. I mean, like, I've seen him a couple times. He's cool. He's, like, good friends with my best friend, right? So, like, I like him. But, like, he's under no obligation to spend all of his time with me.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be different if it was his friend in town visiting.
Mm-hmm.
If it was the other way around, like, because then it's like, yeah, his friend's here. Like, you're not going to leave. But they live in the same city. They can see each other whenever. So if I was him, I'd have said, okay, we'll stick around. You guys can take off. You know, maybe we'll see you tomorrow. Which we did anyways. Like, they were the group we hung out with on the roof. There were some minor fights there, but nothing serious.
I think we all have those friends, right? I think we all have those people. And if you don't have those people in your friends group, you're probably those people. At one point in my life, I was those people.
I've never seen anything like this aside from these.
No, I mean,
yeah.
this sounds like it's pretty aggressive, but most of the time it's like there's that friend group where all they do is they just kind of bicker and they just kind of pick on each other and go back and forth. And a lot of times it's entertaining, but sometimes it could totally
it's not
ruin
entertaining.
everything.
No, see, I don't find, like, toxic things to be entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
If it was, like, silly making fun of each other,
yeah,
then fine. But, like, they're actively getting mad at each other. And to me, there's nothing funny about that. I just in general don't enjoy seeing two people get mad at each other.
By the way, I've been staring at you for like the last hour. I want to let you know you look so good. Like, you look really sexy. Your beard looks great. Your hair looks great. So I just wanted to let you know. I noticed that when we first started recording, but as this has gone on,
I saw a smile on your face the moment that we started this, and I wondered if it was about the hair, because I've changed the hair since the last time I saw you. We shouldn't get too
excited when I talk to you, so you know.
It was not that kind of excited. I could tell. Tell me I'm wrong. You smiled about my hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I seen you, yes.
So
like I said, I thought from the moment that we started doing this, I thought you looked good.
I'm gonna see how well I can do this while still talking to you. And unfortunately, this doesn't translate very well to audio. So the last time, I can't do it very well, and it's also the opposite way. So what happened is I had been laying my hair the other way, which is actually the natural way it lays. And we've talked about it before. I'm growing out my hair, so like there's actually shit that happens when I do stuff with it. But I was laying it the way it naturally does, and it was laying too flat. Yeah, I know you don't have hair. And I was trying to figure out how to get like more. I'm gonna try to call it a poof, like more poof to it. Because I've showed you what I'm looking to copy. And I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna try and go the other way. I'm gonna go against how it's supposed to lay. And instantly that did what I wanted. I didn't know that's what you were supposed to do. I don't know if that works for everybody. But for me, like fighting against the natural way the hair lays gave it the volume I wanted it to.
Look at this. You can come to this podcast for pizza critiques, for boozing with college kids, and hair tips.
I will tell you, it's not as long as I want it to get yet. I don't know how long it needs to get before it like does exactly what I want, but it has gotten to the point where I am very happy with it.
It looks good.
I'm going to tell you something. I probably won't follow through on this because I've never it's just always been really tough for me. I'm so happy with the way my hair looks. It makes me really want to lose weight because I feel like I now see potential in myself to be attractive.
But you're a good looking guy.
Okay.
You're a good looking dude.
I'm okay. But like, I feel like I have confidence with the hair that I would like to realize its full potential. That's all I'm saying.
So what do you want to do? You want to go to the gym?
The gym only helps so much when you eat 6 cookies a day.
That's accurate. Let me tell you, I haven't had a 6-pack in forever, and
but here's the thing: I'm not trying to look perfect. I'm just trying to look better.
I just want to look like strippers can do blow off my abs. I don't have abs though. All right, I don't know where we transition from there, but how about Sha'Carri Richardson not going to the Olympics because she smoked some weed?
Yeah.
Like,
so
what the hell?
So I want to let you kind of give your opinion because my opinion is playing entirely off of yours.
Okay. So look, when this story broke, I was absolutely shocked. The fact that the Olympics even test for weed kind of blew my mind. I was like, for real? Like, that's not even a performance enhancing drug. It does the complete opposite. It just makes you want to eat cookies and laugh. So the fact that they even test for that is one, silly to me. And I think you agree with that as well. I think the majority of people agree that it's absolutely silly. I think this is more a thing where the Olympic Committee is kind of on their high horse in telling you what their morality clause is. But the big issue I have with this, and I think this is where me and you are going to butt heads a little bit. I think if you basically build your life around something that takes place every 4 years, and let's not make any bones about this, she's a badass. Like, she is a bad bitch when it comes to what she does on the Olympic track. She's awesome. You build your entire career around this one event. Mind you, this event got postponed last year. And you go and you get high. I understand something happened in your life and made you feel like you needed to do that. But you go and get high right before you go and run. You just got to be better. You got to be smarter. Like, you can't put yourself in a situation like that, especially when I'm not really one of those people who's like super patriotic, but like, you fought for your spot on an Olympic team to represent your country, and you just kind of flushed it down the toilet because you wanted to go get high. That to me just screams bad decision making, and she owned it, which is great. But you just got to be smarter. This type of thing comes around every 4 years.
We agree the rule is stupid, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Then why does anything else matter? Like, people make mistakes.
Yes.
Humans make mistakes. So, like,
and she owned it.
I'm trying to think how to put this. I guess I think that not everything needs to be said. That's basically my take here. Am I do I necessarily disagree with your opinion? No. Yeah, I don't think you can. It's not an opinion. It's a fact. She was aware that she wasn't allowed to smoke weed. But the rule is stupid. And so I don't give a fuck if she makes a mistake. That part of the conversation about like she needed to know better, to me, is irrelevant. She did know better. She made a mistake. People do, and it's a mistake that should be meaningless. Like, the important part of I just think it's wrong to focus on anything other than the fact that the rule shouldn't exist. The Olympics have no good reason to care about you smoking weed. None. They don't care if you drink alcohol.
It's really and truly all it is. It's a morality thing. That's all it is. It's like it's one of those.
But I would tell you it's not even a morality thing. There's nothing immoral about smoking weed.
No, you're right. But it's one of those rules that are caught in like the 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, and that's where it becomes a bit of an issue. Like, smoking weed was okay in the 70s. Smoking weed was whatever in the 80s. It was supposed to be a gateway drug to everything else. In the 90s, you got arrested and thrown in jail forever for it. 2000s roll around, actually 2020 rolls around, and it's legal pretty much everywhere.
I assume you're okay with me asking you this. Have you smoked weed while it was illegal?
Yes.
I don't think she did anything worse than you did.
No, right.
And for her, it wasn't even actually illegal. It was illegal for what she was doing and trying to make the Olympic team. Correct. But it should have never been illegal, period. And it should have definitely never been illegal in sports. So with this,
we're talking about two different things, you and I. And we both agree that the rule is stupid and that the rule shouldn't exist. My whole thing is you just have to be smarter. You know what you're up against. Why? Because you only get to do this once every 4, in this case, 5 years. You have to be smart.
But the focus, okay, who is hurt by this?
Nobody. Well, she is. She's the only one who's hurt by this because she doesn't get to go run.
I agree with you. The only person hurt in this entire situation is her. So when we focus on that, right? The only person who was hurt is her. What should be the focus? My answer is sympathy, empathy. We should sympathize with the fact that
she
the
made
only
a bad
person
decision?
hurt by this, yes, because the rule shouldn't exist. Nobody else was harmed. She made a bad decision. Here's the thing. She made a bad decision. Who else did that bad decision hurt?
It just hurt her. It just hurt her and hurt her earnings potential.
So the bigger story here is the fact that the rule is dumb.
I agree with you that the rule is dumb. At the same point, though, she took herself out of a position to where she could have made...
And why should you fucking care? That is my opinion. There is no reason that you should care about it.
Well, if you're a fan of the Olympics, you care.
Oh, stop it. That's not why you care. It's not.
Well, why do I care?
Is the reason you care about this story because you don't get to watch Sha'Carri Richardson run?
Actually, I watched the race where I think she set a record, if I remember correctly. It was pretty damn impressive. And I thought for sure her going to the Olympics meant gold medal all day long. Look, to be honest with you, I don't care that she smoked weed. To be honest with you,
no, I know you don't.
I don't necessarily care that I do care that she's not going to compete in the Olympics. That does bother me. That is like probably the only thing that I really do care about with this story is that she's not going to compete because I feel like she's an utter badass. And not getting to see her run, I think is really unfortunate.
My only point here, because like your take is a very popular one, and I'm not even saying that it's wrong to have that opinion. I'm saying it's an opinion that just doesn't need to be discussed. That's what I'm saying. Like you don't like. There's no reason that needs to be voiced. And look, we're doing a podcast, so I'm kind of taking it out like how I feel about people who like. If your Twitter take, if what you have to say about this is she should have known better, my answer is I don't. Why do you care? Like, yes, she was aware of the rules, I am sure, and she chose to break them, but they didn't impact anybody but herself, and she is losing out because of them. So there are two parts to this. One, she should have known better, but she didn't hurt anybody but herself, and two, the rule is stupid. I think two is what we should be focusing on exclusively. Because, like, if she makes a bad decision that hurts somebody else, I think it's a different discussion. But when you make a bad decision that hurts yourself or only hurts yourself, I think we should focus on how stupid the rule is.
Do you think because of this, there will be a change to the rule?
No.
I see. Like the Olympic Committee moves so slow with everything they do. I think eventually there'll be a change. I don't think it's going to come anytime soon. And I'll be honest with you. I thought maybe the Olympic Committee would give her a bit of a reprieve. And absolutely not. I was more blown away by how staunch they dug their heels in on this and were like, yeah, you're not going. And
I wouldn't rule out
to
the
me,
possibility.
that to me was probably the biggest injustice in all of this.
I wouldn't rule out the possibility that things change over time. I just don't trust organizations we've seen fail time and time again to figure things out in a timely manner. No, I don't think it makes a difference. I don't know, man. I just think that, and this is just the current example, but I think sometimes we focus on the wrong things. People all make mistakes. And to me, to say she should have known better is focusing on the fact that she made a mistake, which is human. When the story here, to me, is sympathetic. When somebody misses out on a chance to do that, to reach their dreams because of a rule that shouldn't exist. Did she know better? Sure. But like, again, everybody makes mistakes. This is such a meaningless mistake. This mistake only matters because of a dumb rule. That's the point. If the mistake exists because of an important rule, different story. Like using PEDs is different, right? That rule exists so as to not harm people who are doing things the right way. So when you make that mistake, I can be sympathetic to the fact that you don't get to reach your dreams. But I'm also going to say, look, you knew better than to cheat. When nobody but you was harmed, that part of it just doesn't matter. It's not important in the conversation. I don't expect people to be perfect.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here. What if those people who basically say she did something wrong come at you and they tell you that, look, smoking weed helps relax your body, helps with muscle soreness, helps make you feel better the following day, it helps you recover faster. What do you say to those people?
I would say that devil's advocate is useless when it's not something that people actually believe. I'm not saying nobody in the world believes that, but you're talking about such a minute percentage. Like, there are people that believe a flying spaghetti monster exists, right? Do we have to consider their opinions?
I mean, I guess not.
That's what I'm saying. No, that's my answer
about flying spaghetti monster.
No, but the reason I bring it up, Stroz, my answer to those people is that you are a statistically insignificant percentage of the population. You believe something that is not agreed upon by anybody else, and therefore I don't care about your opinion. I'm serious.
No, I got you.
We don't have to respect everybody's opinion.
True.
I kind of think respecting everybody's opinion kind of got us to where we are in some of the troubles we have right now in America. Not all opinions are created equally. If 0.02% of people, and that's obviously a random made-up number, think that weed's a PED, I don't give a shit about what they say. Nobody else thinks weed's a PED. You would agree with that, right? The percentage of people who think weed is a PED is so minuscule. You may not think that their opinion doesn't matter. That's my choice to say that, but that's my counter to those people.
Look,
their opinion doesn't matter.
I started the segment off saying that it's the complete opposite. It doesn't help you. So yeah, no, I agree with you. I just trying to play.
Water's a PED. That's the other response. Water's a PED. Food's a PED. Working out's a PED. Some things are gonna help you be better at what you do, but if they're also not unhealthy for you, then I don't really care. Shoot, if steroids weren't bad for you, I wouldn't care if steroids were used in sports. Personally, I don't know if that's a hot take. I kind of don't care if they're used in sports as it is. Don't matter to me.
I don't really care either. I think it'd be awesome to see the biggest, fastest guys. I don't know. I know we're kind of into different things, right? But I love bodybuilding, right? I think bodybuilding is fascinating.
You want to do it for me? You want a body build for me?
I want a body build for me. So like I have this like infatuation with it. I tried doing it when I was a kid. I ended up blowing my shoulders up and my joints just can't handle the heavy load that your body has to basically carry around. Did I ever tell you, like, I was up to like 235 at one point. I like had zero neck. I was like massive.
Yeah, I think you have mentioned that.
And it was just so taxing on all of my joints, just hurt. But I think it's fascinating to watch the extreme limits that the human body can grow and go to. Now, that being said, it has horrible health ramifications. You can just go look at anything that Ronnie Coleman does. Ronnie Coleman was one of my favorite bodybuilders of all time. But shoot, I'm basically in lockstep with you. Shoot them up. How big, how fast can you get? How high can you jump? Set records, break records. Push the human body to its absolute extreme, and let's see what happens. I'm all about it.
All right. Well,